The alien fleet positioned itself so that each of its warships filled the sky above the last remaining colony on Earth. In the light of far-off stars, an incredible feat of extraterrestrial engineering shimmered like a harbinger of doom. They had already destroyed half of humanity's worlds, colonies erased with ruthless precision. Now they hovered above the last vestiges of hope, certain this marked the end of a species they had long contemplated and long underestimated. When their scanners picked up a single human warship, the alien commanders laughed. A small, inconsequential vessel compared to their massive ships. The lead commander sneered. To him, this was nothing more than a desperate symbolic gesture from a defeated species. They didn't even consider it honorable that mankind would try just once more to stop the inevitable. Aboard the Vengeance, Earth's last surviving cruiser, silence reigned. The crew was tense, grim determination etched into every face. At the helm stood Captain Elias, resolute and unflinching, his eyes locked onto the enemy fleet. His thoughts drifted to the countless colonies now lost, families, friends, entire futures wiped away as easily as snuffing out a flame. This wasn't just a final battle, this was justice. The Vengeance wasn't named by chance. It was forged in grief, powered by fury. Despite humanity's defeats, this crew stood ready, not to beg, but to strike. The alien commanders, amused from a distance, saw the Vengeance as a relic, a final flicker of weakness. Their scanners told them the human ship was outdated, outgunned, and outclassed. They didn't see what lay beneath. What they dismissed as scrap was, in fact, humanity's deadliest weapon, a sleek, desperate creation built in the darkest hours, the last gamble of a dying race. Experimental, unproven, unimaginable. Inside, hidden beneath outdated panels and deception, were weapons designed specifically to target the few vulnerabilities the aliens had unknowingly revealed. But the aliens didn't know that. They weren't looking for surprises, they were preparing a victory speech. No surrender was expected, no negotiation, just annihilation. But on the Vengeance, as the alien fleet moved in, the human crew stood silent and still. The weapons remained inactive, waiting. Timing was everything. The aliens came closer, unaware of the devastation parked right under their noses. Their confidence was overwhelming, their technology unmatched, and yet their arrogance was their blind spot. Captain Elias took a deep breath. He thought of those lost. He clenched his fists. They had to pay. The alien command ship locked targeting systems onto the Vengeance. Their strategy was simple, one powerful volley, then move on to the next conquest. Why should this ship be any different? The countdown began. Their weapons lit up. They'd already won. But Vengeance had not yet spoken. Humanity's final message hadn't been delivered. The silence on the bridge shattered. Weapons ready. Elias ordered. His crew obeyed without question. Outside, the alien fleet advanced in perfect formation. The human ship, smaller, older, a joke, didn't even move. It just waited. Then came the blast. The aliens fired first, a synchronized storm of missiles and energy beams tore toward the Vengeance. But the shields held. More than that, they absorbed the impact, dispersed the energy, transformed it. The alien commanders stared at their tactical screens, confused. No human shield had ever done that. They called it a fluke. They fired again. But before the second volley struck, the Vengeance returned fire. One shot, a quantum rail gun, silent, surgical, unstoppable. The beam bypassed shields, pierced armor, and erased one of the alien fleet's largest warships from existence. Gone. No warning, no explosion caught on sensors. Just gone. The alien fleet fell silent. One of their finest ships, reduced to nothing by a vessel they had mocked. Commanders scrambled, screens flashed, orders collided. They couldn't understand it. How had a relic done that? Then came the second strike. The Vengeance didn't stop. It fired again, multiple projectiles this time, each aimed at a different ship, each devastatingly precise. 3 more alien cruisers were obliterated in seconds. The battlefield had changed. Panic gripped the alien command. Their confidence was shattered. They had miscalculated. This wasn't a last stand, this was a reckoning. They had dismissed humanity as broken, finished, forgotten. But in their darkest hour, humanity had built something the universe would never forget. This wasn't a relic. This was vengeance. Opposition to the extraterrestrial commanders, who were once so certain of their superiority, they were shocked to learn about humanity's previous strategies and technological advancements. They came to a straightforward conclusion that humans were inferior in every manner, yet here they were confronting a cruiser that was utilizing weaponry they couldn't even begin to comprehend. Their armada was being demolished piece by piece while alien ships detonated all around them. The alien commanders scrambled for a solution. In a desperate attempt to reduce the damage from redirected attacks, they ordered their fleets to disperse. But the humans were unrelenting. The vengeance pushed the attack, shifting from defense to offense with devastating accuracy. A second wave of quantum rail gun hits tore through the alien fleet. Every shot was planned, every target chosen with care. No energy was squandered. Meanwhile, the human crew aboard the Vengeance operated with cold, meticulous efficiency. They had been waiting for this moment, this opportunity to retaliate. Every shot fired carried the weight of grief, of vengeance, of burned worlds and murdered kin. They moved with a singular purpose. There was no hesitation, knowing this was their moment to turn the tide of war. The captain issued precise, calm commands at the helm. He had seen what the aliens had done. He had witnessed the loss. The faces of the dead haunted him, but they strengthened his resolve. This battle was more than just the defense of one final colony, it was the beginning of a long-awaited reckoning. He knew if they could defeat this alien fleet, humanity might regain the momentum to reclaim what was lost. If they failed, nothing would remain. But failure was not an option. The Vengeance tore through the alien fleet with ruthless precision. Each alien ship that fell wasn't just a kill, it was a victory for every human still alive. This vessel, once dismissed as an outdated relic, had proven far deadlier than any alien strategist could have predicted. Once thought a dying species, humanity was showing the galaxy that they weren't just willing to fight, they could win. As the conflict raged, the alien leaders began to realize the full extent of their mistake. Ship after ship went down, each explosion a reminder the mighty fleet was paying for its arrogance. Inside the Vengeance, the crew didn't falter. They were no longer being hunted, they were the hunters. The captain understood this wouldn't end the war, but it would send a message: humanity will not break. Now, with their experimental technology fully unleashed, the aliens finally began to understand the true cost of underestimating Earth. The tide had shifted. Extinction no longer hunted humanity, now it stalked the invaders. And with every alien ship destroyed, hope for a human future grew stronger. The Vengeance wasn't just a warship, it was Earth's defiance made steel. Once a flawless armada, the alien fleet had devolved into chaos. What began as a confident march to victory was now a disjointed panic. Ships that once moved in perfect unison scrambled, confused, uncoordinated, and desperate. More of their vessels exploded into wreckage as they tried and failed to outrun the Vengeance's onslaught. Tactical superiority had evaporated. Alien commanders stared in disbelief as their readouts bled red, indicating annihilated or crippled ships. Any attempt to regroup, to counterattack, was thwarted by the brutal efficiency of the human warships. For the first time, alien leaders showed emotion. Their once unified command fractured, breaking down into accusations, fear, and bitter arguments. Some proud officers insisted they could still turn the tide, refusing to admit that a single human cruiser had brought them this low. Others, more observant, knew the truth. Their pride would not let them retreat, and now it was costing them everything. The Vengeance was unlike anything they had faced. Every minute they delayed brought more death. Finally, some commanders gave the order, abandon command. It was their last hope. On open channels, orders contradicted each other. Some ships were told to flee, others to advance. The result, chaos. And in that chaos, the Vengeance struck with merciless precision. Captain Elias watched the alien fleet unravel on his tactical screen. They had reached their tipping point. He gave the order, target the alien command ship. They had learned early, alien forces relied on centralized leadership. Break that, and the fleet would collapse. With weapons primed, the Vengeance positioned itself for the final blow. Inside the alien command ship, chaos reigned. Officers shouted over alarms, systems overloaded, shields shattered. And then the Vengeance fired. Quantum rail gun fire tore into the vessel, ripping it apart from within. The chief alien commander, mid-sentence, was consumed in a cascade of light and metal. Without their leader, the alien fleet fell into disarray. Some ships attempted escape, others in desperation charged blindly forward. But it was too late. The Vengeance and the other human warships picked them off one by one. Plasma beams lit the void, rail guns shattered hulls. The alien fleet, once unstoppable, was reduced to scattered wreckage. The few ships that survived tried to flee, but the human forces pursued relentlessly. The battle that was meant to mark humanity's extinction had instead become the turning point of the war. The Vengeance had delivered its message, and the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.